Coming up on today's episode of Airborne-Unlimited, French flight school unable to recover from arson attack. TSA flags almost $700 million moving through Minneapolis travelers. Program announcement, MOSAIC Unfiltered, a grassroots reality check. Welcome to Airborne Unlimited. I'm your host, Holland Lee. Let's get into today's stories. French flight school unable to recover from arson attack. A French court is ordering SAS Airways Aviation Academy to shut its doors, officially bringing operations at its Montpellier base to an end. The decision takes effect January 23, 2026, almost exactly 8 months after it was hit by a major arson attack that left more than a dozen key assets damaged or destroyed. The trigger came on May 20, 2025, at Montpellier Mediterranean Airport. The school claims that at around 4:30 a.m., a group of people snuck onto a secure ramp area on airport grounds and attempted to light the entire fleet on fire. At least 3 Diamond DA-42 twin-engine trainers were destroyed before firefighters were able to stop the flames, though several more took severe damage. According to Airways Aviation Group, which owns the French location, significant resources were poured into stabilizing the business in the months that followed. Its efforts ultimately fell short, however, leading the court to determine that liquidation was the only viable path forward. The company places responsibility for the collapse on the arson itself, saying it is, quote, the victim of a catastrophic criminal act, not a failed business. As a result, the liquidation is now paired with a legal claim against SA Aéroport de Montpellier Méditerranée, seeking tens of millions of euros in damage tied to aircraft losses, business interruption, reputational harm, and the forced closure of the Montpellier site. After the break, Ethiopian Airlines orders 9 Boeing 787-9 aircraft.
Direct Fly USA proudly introduces the new Alto NG, a single-engine, 2-seat light sport aircraft for the North American market. This simple, all-metal aircraft design provides low-maintenance cost, easy, comfortable access, and responsive flight controls. Equipped with the Rotax 912 engine and a ballistic parachute, the Alto NG is reliable and safe. Learn more about the Alto NG at directflyusa.com.
Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some shorter stories. Ethiopian Airlines orders 9 Boeing 787-9 aircraft. Boeing and Ethiopian Airlines announced the carrier has ordered an additional 9 Boeing 787-9 aircraft as the demand for long-haul travel continues to grow. Africa's largest airline will deploy the Dreamliners to expand its network that currently serves 145 international destinations. This new order follows a commitment for 11 737 MAX jets made at the recent Dubai Air Show. Both orders were finalized in December 2025 and raised Ethiopian Airlines' order book by a total of 20 Boeing aircraft. Seaplane course proves that runways are optional. A new Seaplane rating course covers everything from float plane basics, pre-flight and water taxiing, to advanced landings and safety, designed to prepare a pilot for the FAA check ride and confident water operations. Sporties is offering the course, accessible on any device with lifetime access, for aspiring seaplane pilots and those looking to refine their skills. The host for this course is pilot and instructor Patty Wagstaff. Widely acknowledged as one of the world's greatest aerobatic pilots, she's also a highly experienced seaplane pilot. USAF MH-139 Grey Wolf flies first ICBM security mission. The U.S. Air Force began replacing its legacy UH-1 helicopters with the new MH-139 Grey Wolf helicopter for its mission of securing ICBM silos at U.S. bases. The first operational sortie of an MH-139 was carried out at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Great Falls, Montana, providing air cover for a convoy transporting a Minuteman III missile. The Boeing UH-1 Hueys have flown the ICBM security mission for more than 50 years. The Grey Wolf cruises at 162 miles per hour over the Huey's 115, and it can carry 5,000 more pounds of cargo or personnel with more range than the UH-1N. TransDigm takes over jet parts and Victor Sierra in $2.2 billion deal. TransDigm Group is expanding its already large aftermarket footprint, inking a $2.2 billion deal with Vance Street Capital for the purchase of two companies, Jet Parts Engineering and Victor Sierra Aviation Holdings. The transaction was announced on January 16th. The first part of the purchase is Seattle-based Jet Parts Engineering. The company centers on proprietary FAA-approved PMA parts and repair solutions aimed at the commercial aerospace aftermarket. That's it for today's trip around the patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. TSA flags almost $700 million moving through Minneapolis travelers. Federal authorities are taking a closer look at quite a hefty sum of cash that has passed through Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, totaling nearly $700 million carried by airline passengers over the past 2 years. Homeland Security officials say the money was found in both checked and carry-on bags on international departures and is believed to be tied to Somali immigrants. TSA data flagged about $342 million in outbound cash in 2024, followed by roughly $349 million more in 2025. In many cases, the money was transported by repeat couriers that took frequent international trips, sometimes getting bold enough to carry seven-figure sums on a single flight. The problem isn't that officials weren't picking up on the activity, it's that they couldn't legally do anything about it. TSA and Customs lack clear authority to stop large cash movements when declaration requirements are met, leaving Congress as a possible avenue for new oversight tools. But now the trend has gotten far too clear to ignore. Authorities have begun reassessing the data as part of a broader criminal inquiry, and investigators are looking into whether the identified cash represents just part of a much larger international transfer network. Homeland Security added that similar cash-carrying patterns have been observed at other major U.S. airports, including hubs on the West Coast and in the Midwest. After these messages, program announcement: MOSAIC Unfiltered, a grassroots reality check.
For over 30 years, the massive Sport Plane Resource Guide has provided expert, credible information, evaluations, and critical analysis of all that the sport aviation world has to offer. The all-new digital Sport Plane Resource Guide is coming with extensive multimedia features that are constantly updated, an even more comprehensive online guide to all things sport aviation. Available soon. www.sportplane.com.
Welcome back. Program announcement: MOSAIC Unfiltered, a grassroots reality check. The FAA's MOSAIC initiative represents one of the most significant regulatory shifts in modern sport and general aviation. Its implications will affect aircraft design, certification pathways, pilot access, training models, and the economic future of multiple market segments. Yet, despite its importance, the MOSAIC conversation remains fragmented, often driven by speculation, incomplete information, or promotional messaging rather than experience-based analysis. To address this gap, the Aero-News network is launching a new long-form webcast and editorial initiative. The FAA's MOSAIC initiative represents one of the most consequential regulatory shifts in modern sport and general aviation. Its impact will be felt across aircraft design, certification pathways, pilot access, training models, and long-term industry stability. Yet much of the current dialogue surrounding MOSAIC remains fragmented, speculative, or driven by marketing narratives rather than operational reality. MOSAIC Unfiltered, a grassroots reality check, exists to change that. Produced by the Aero-News network, the series delivers a clear-eyed, experience-driven examination of MOSAIC in all its facets, grounded not in theory, but in decades of hands-on aviation involvement at every level of the industry. What makes this series different? This is not a policy discussion conducted at arm's length, rather a practical examination of MOSAIC. Details about the new program will be published later this month, along with an initial webcast schedule. And that's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.